we got to talk about it. We're together. We're in the same place, so we're going to do this a little bit different tonight. And it's time to talk about A&M losing to Alabama 26 to 20 in a game that went very much like we said it would for the most part.
Oh, are you sure about that?
I am sure about that.
Are you sure that's what we said on the channel?
We did. We
I
did
don't
say
know.
that.
I've seen a lot of response basically just being like, what do you have to say now? Well, I have exactly what I had to say before on this channel. In fact, I don't see the point in doing this show. I think we should just read last week's show because it's all the same stuff. I don't understand. Well, I mean, I do understand, but we just sat here and said, you guys are all putting way too much weight on the outcome of this game. We said it for like a whole hour and laid out all sorts of reasons why. And then, not even the next day, we find several examples of people doing just that, right? And you posted them out like, this is the kind of thing we're talking about. And those same people come back after the game, after it did go basically exactly like we said. In fact, I think your score prediction was probably like only a point or two off in either direction.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It was like 22 to 19, I think.
Yeah.
So, the thought process being, look, this is going to be a traditional SEC West grinded out football game, and it's going to come down to two players, two guys on the field. And who were those two guys?
Jalen Milroe and Max Johnson.
And those two guys were going to determine the winner. One of those guys would make more mistakes or more plays than the other one. Both of these defenses are really good, okay? And both of these defenses were good in the game. And a lot of people, they didn't want to believe that Bama was better than what they saw in week 2.
Yeah.
But that's because you stopped watching. You stopped watching the greatest coach of all time take a top 3 roster in all of college football and get better week to week. And we tried to tell folks, this isn't the team that lost to Texas in week 1, who still hadn't figured out how to play with Milroe and benched him and then brought him back and is starting to figure it out. We told you this was going to be tough. And we told you Max Johnson was going to have to elevate and play well. Everybody was going to have to play well. And quite a few pieces on offense did struggle. It's not fair to just say Max Johnson. All right. But we got the full Max. Right?
Right. And that's, I mean, we've been saying that every week this week that we've seen Max, or this year that we've seen Max play. We never really got into exactly what we were talking about this year. But if you go back to what we said when Max was named the starter over Haynes last year, and even what we were saying during the quarterback battle that was going on in the offseason, is that there's a, I don't even know what you would call it. There's just a bit of delusion out there on the fan base amongst Max. I think mostly stemming from the fact that he beat us, that he took a huge beating and showed up huge in that LSU game before he transferred here. But look, Max holds the ball a long time. He holds the ball too long. And, when he's going good and gets in rhythm, he's got a few route concepts that he's really good at throwing and that he really likes. And when he's not getting those, he's double hitching a lot. He's standing in one place. Those are things that don't get you beat against Auburn or Arkansas.
You can survive those things.
You can survive, but not against Alabama, not against that front, and not against when you're playing behind an offensive line that we have said is good, not great. And, at times plays worse than good. They had some bad snaps against Alabama for sure. Max didn't help them out with some of that.
And we've said all along, the biggest difference with this football team and this offense was the guy who took over late in the year and who started the year in Connor Wegman, because the way that he operates, we've said it over and over again, he's an operator, okay, is that he came in and understood this offense very, very quickly, understood what he was trying to do, and he attacks the defense the way that Jimbo's designed the offense. And Petrino, okay, right? Like this, Everybody thinks it's different. It's not fundamentally different, all right? But the difference was a guy coming in who jumped right in and who figured it out early and attacks linebackers and safeties and does it quickly, okay? And all of that was pretty much gone on Saturday, right? When you comment about Max really standing in the pocket, and the sacks came in the second half. They really did. And early in the game, I thought he played quicker, almost more frenetic. And maybe that was, he was sped up a little bit. Maybe it's just the adrenaline coming out of the gate. But he's running. He's taking off running. Seemed kind of have a short fuse and, was determined to run. And then in the second half, as the game went on, he would drop back to pass. And you could literally watch him set himself into one place. Those feet weren't moving anymore. It would set like, here's my base. This is where I'm going to throw this ball from, no matter what. And what does that do for a quarterback? Well, it means wherever he's set, whichever part of the field he's set up and reading, that's it, man. That's where he's going to throw this football. He's waiting for those routes that he's comfortable with to come open, and he just got lit up.
Yeah.
He just absolutely got lit up on it.
Well, and it also, I think that's highlighted more than anything on the throw late in the game that really frustrated us to Anias down the sideline, right? That came up a little bit short. And the irony is, if you're running your quarterback competition in the offseason and you're going to base the decision solely on the quarterback's ability to throw that ball in that situation, Max was going to be your starting quarterback coming out of the offseason. I mean, that guy,
That's his pass.
Yeah, that's his pass. Give him and Connor 100 shots at it. Max is completing more of those than Connor does. And the strange thing was, you could see, he set his feet in one spot. They stayed still. He double hitched, and he got his hips stuck. And so it was all arm, and the ball came up 10 yards short of where he wanted to throw it. And,
Yeah, and look, those throws were the difference in the game.
They were.
Okay, because you go back in the game when Milroe hit the receiver in the back of the end zone on a late deep cross, and the coverage was actually really good on that play. Tariq Chappelle had his arm across the receiver, probably felt that ball graze the hair on his arms, but that ball was perfect. It was a big time throw, and when it came time to make a similar type throw to Anias and get us back in that ball game and get 6, it didn't happen. And there was quite a few instances of that, especially at the beginning of the game. A&M had every opportunity to jump out ahead and get on Alabama and make them play from behind. And with the defense that we have, if they have to play from behind and there's no threat to run the ball at all, even from the quarterback, like they've got to air it out. I mean, that's just different. That's a different mentality when you absolutely have to go one-dimensional. And we missed throws, man. I mean, I've gone back and I've watched them, watched those plays over and over and over again. I think the one on the 4th down call, his brother let him down a little bit, coming across in motion at the snap. Nobody chips the blitzing linebacker, but Max Wright is wide open. Nobody's covering him. The safety bites on the play fake. If Max has 3 options, right? He had Theo over for the first down because the guy covering Theo dropped off. So he could have made that throw and had an easy first down. He had Max Wright for 6 with nobody within 10 yards of him. But he had a guy in his face, and as a left-handed quarterback.
Yeah, that's a tough one for a lefty.
It's tough. I think, but what we've seen, okay, kind of go back to Connor. Connor has the ability to move in that pocket and make that throw very, very quickly. Yeah. Maybe being on the left side, more difficult, but he threw it to the one guy that he shouldn't have out of the 3.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on there. I don't want to. I mean, this can't turn into a bash Max fest because it's not fair to Max, even though. But still, I think. One, I don't know who was supposed to chip that end there. So could have been Max, like right off the line.
It could have been Max, right?
Could have been running back. I think Amari.
No, I don't think he was on that side.
You think so?
No.
Okay.
It would have either been Max
Yeah.
Wright or it would have been Jake coming across in
Yeah,
motion.
somebody. But regardless, I mean, when you talk about the difference between Connor and Max in that situation, it's the difference between them just in general. Connor throws to space.
Yes.
When he drops back, you can tell he's looking for space and he throws to it. That's why some people criticize him for not being that accurate sometimes, because he's throwing to space, like, and he's trusting like his receivers to be there, right? So in that situation, with the guy in his face,
He's throwing
like,
that ball.
he's throwing the
the
ball
end
and
zone.
he's throwing it. Wow,
I think
I
he's
don't know
going-
about that.
I think as soon as he sees that safety jump, he knows his guy is
Maybe
uncovered.
so.
And I think, he's letting that ball go and, to where Max is supposed
Right.
to be. We've seen it over and over
we
again.
have. If he doesn't, he's throwing it to Theo, though.
I
Like,
would agree with
he's-
that. Yeah.
Like, he understands that there's nobody there because he already saw, like, there's only 11 guys on the field, and he just knows. Like, he saw what he needed right post snap, and he knows nobody's going to be there covering Theo or Max or whatever, just wherever he decides to go. And he's cutting the ball loose to that spot. He's not throwing it at a receiver. He's throwing to space.
Yeah. And the other opportunity in that first quarter was the throw down on the goal line where Anais breaks open, cuts in on the end zone, back out, and just missed him. And look, it
Yeah.
wasn't as far off as I thought on first watch,
No.
but, Anais doesn't have a giant catch radius either. So, look,
Yeah.
got to make that throw.
You
We got to
do.
take advantage of those opportunities. And I guess that actually goes back to something you and I have talked about a lot with this offense. Overall, in every game this season, the offense has had an opportunity to seize control of a game and distance themselves from an opponent early. And they have failed to do it every single time. And what's frustrating about it is that's now their identity, but it's always something different. There's no pattern to it. Like in some games, it's, well, I got skill guys who aren't fighting for a first down and a drive bogs down, or I've got pre-snap penalties, or, non-calls help stall a drive. Something like that happens. Then Max comes along against Arkansas. We got a couple of turnovers, right, that happen. And, in this game, it was just honestly failure to make those big plays. The big plays were there. And they continued to be there throughout the game. There was the one down in the end zone where, actually, here's two plays that's going to really frustrate people. We had one-on-one with Evan Stewart from, I think, about the 10, 15-yard line, okay? All right, it's very clear at the line of scrimmage that he has one-on-one coverage. Max knows it, Evan knows it. And the DB is right up in Evan's face at the snap. And Evan puts a move on the guy and is heading straight to the back of the end zone. For whatever reason, Max immediately takes the snap and throws it straight to the sideline where Evan was at the snap. And it was almost a pick six because the DB had gotten beat so bad that he's still there. Right? And so Evan, they're looking at each other like, well, we weren't on the same page. Well, why on earth would you throw that route or that ball when you've got one-on-one coverage and the guy is up in his grill? So, another opportunity. And we know, I hate to go back to this, but we've seen Connor make that throw. We've seen him do it against Ole Miss last year in the back of the end zone, one-on-one coverage. He throws to space and lets his guy go make that play. And then we had another one. Max is out scrambling. Noah Thomas is dragging across the back of the end zone, who got, one, maybe two throws all day. And look, Noah Thomas, how tall is that dude?
6'4".
At least 6'4". Dude, long arms, can go up and get it. Throw the ball up and let the guy go make a play. But man, dude, that thing got thrown into the third row. I didn't understand what we were seeing most of the day. It wasn't great.
No.
It wasn't great at all. And I heard people saying we got great quarterback play and still lost. And I have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
I don't know what anyone could be looking at. I guess because at times Max did make some nice throws. He did, but there was so much left out there. I mean, you brought up Noah Thomas, the big one. that is just completely mind-boggling is the safety, because that's after Max already took what was a bad sack.
Very bad
Like
sack.
there was,
And we
like,
showed that on the Twitter account. You want to go
Yeah.
out. That is a bread and butter play for this offense.
Yeah.
And it should have been completed for a 15-yard
yeah.
gain.
What was the pass protection great?
No.
No. Was it good enough for him to hit one of his first two options? Yes, absolutely. You've got to cut the ball loose, especially when you know they're starting to dial up the pressure. You're behind. They know they can kind of try to tee off on you a little bit. That, but hey, to hit the dig to Anias on that play, actually, he would have had to cut the ball loose a little bit earlier, even earlier than I think they really teach them to. But regardless, that he has Anias in the flat earlier. He's got time. He needs to let it go. On the next play, on 2nd and 19, he has Noah Thomas outside with a cornerback. Is he giving him a 20-yard cushion?
At
Is
least
it 15? I don't know. A lot. He's giving him a huge cushion. Now it's to the field, or is it? Yeah, it's to the field. So it's a long throw, but he's Max Johnson. He's got an NFL arm. And two, that cover corner, he takes steps backwards at the snap, and Noah just runs a little 5-yard hitch and in, and it's wide open. He's getting at least 10 yards on that play. He's going to get half his yardage back. He's going to live for 3rd and 9 and have easy yardage. And instead, he just stands on the goal line and just waits to get swallowed up by a really, really good Alabama front seven. I mean, I don't know what else you could say.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I
I think going all the way back to when he beat A&M, we were able to light that dude up and put him on his butt over and over and over again because of these very things. The dude, we've said it all along, he is a pocket hero. He's going to stand in there and he's going to make the throws that he wants to make. He's not making the throws that the defense is giving him. He's playing in his comfort zone, and we just have to live with that. And we're going to have to keep living with it. It's not going to change. It's not,
Right.
you can say, oh, well, we can coach that out of him. No, this is who he is. This is like how he's wired. It's just like Connor is wired completely different to recognize things and react and throw to space. Like that's their talent. That's why Connor Wigman is going to play in the NFL, okay? It's going to happen and for a long time. And that's not just me talking. That's a lot of people who know this game who are falling in love with the way that guy played. And it's why we were so excited coming into this season, because we thought, man, if that guy can be the guy running this engine and it gets going, then we're going to be in a good spot. And, it's frustrating that it's where we're at, but it also goes back to the fact that, man, folks, calm the F down, because that was a good football team across from you that's going to win a hell of a lot of football games. And we said it's going to be a grinded out, who makes the most mistakes at the quarterback position game, and that's how it played out. And don't go jumping off the bridge if it doesn't go the way we wanted it to. Nobody listened.
Nobody listened. No, and immediately it's just the same stuff we heard beforehand. I mean, you have people basically counting this game, one game, as like 3. They're just like, well, it's for sure 8-4 or 7-5 now. This is basically 3 losses in 1.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, before the game, making the game out to be 3 wins in 1. Like, win this one, And
you might as well book your tickets to Atlanta.
10-2, going to Atlanta. Are you out of your mind? You saw how close the game was. If we had somehow made a play at the end, or Max hits Anias on that, are you sitting here going now? Well, clearly 10-2, right?
Clearly.
We're going to Atlanta.
Yeah, we're gonna blow the doors off of Tennessee this weekend.
Right.
But that was the margin right there. Is one quarterback being able to make the big time throw when he needed it the most, and the other one not able to make it. That was the difference in this football game between Jimbo's got it back, 10-2, playoffs, you name it, and burn it all down. And man, has there been a lot of burn it all down. And we knew there would be if they came up short. And I guess that's
Yeah.
just what we're going to have to listen to all
Well,
week.
and look, we should point out again, because if you weren't listening in week 1 or 2, whenever we did those shows, we talk about this a lot. Like, it becomes a whole lot of, every time you say stuff like we're saying about like the offense, or this play was here, or whatever, it just becomes, well, isn't it Jimbo's fault that Max isn't making these throws or can't learn the offense or whatever? Or isn't it Jimbo's fault that in this year we're thin at corner right now because one of our transfer guys hasn't gotten help, blah, blah, blah? Yes, it's always Jimbo's fault. Whatever's going on with the team, it's always Jimbo's fault. We have just said in the past, you've also got to give credit when things are good, right? Like, I don't know, we can go down that. But, like, there are, I think, very good arguments to be made when you're analyzing Max's play or what's going on, or, like, why can't we get our guys to make those plays? There's a coaching element to that for sure. I don't know the answer to that. But it doesn't matter, right? There's nothing we can do about it, okay? Like, we just have to watch the season play out as it is, and that's just been our message. Watch the season play out. So,
Yeah.
that's all we've got left to do now.
Yeah. You unroll it at the end. Try to enjoy the ups and downs on the way. Yeah, look, you guys are going to be saying the exact same thing this time next week. This is what Jimbo teams do. They shoot themselves in the foot until they can't walk. They do when they lose. But what do we say when they win? Do we give any credit back to Jimbo when they go and tear the doors off of LSU, when they upset Alabama a couple of years ago with a subpar team? Do we say he got more out of that team than Nick Saban got out of his? I mean, what are we doing? I don't know. I mean, you can make this argument either direction. All I know is that the guy keeps improving the talent on this football team. We thought we had a field general to take this thing, further. We don't now. It was going to be a step back. We tried to warn everybody that was coming. All right, even though we were winning football games, we pointed out the flaws in this football team when they won 2 SEC West games by double digits the last couple of weeks. We were on this show telling you, yeah, but they could have won by a whole lot more, and here's what we're seeing, and here's why they're not doing it. So,
specifically, so you guys might not work yourself up into a frenzy over what was the Bama game. Convince yourself that somehow Bama is like a bad football team. That's the one that just, I don't understand. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It is what it is. Hey, man, we've got a road game at Tennessee. That's our reward for, a loss this week. It never slows down in the SEC. I don't know what to think about it, to be honest. Isn't Tennessee, don't they have their backup quarterback in, and he struggled a little bit last week? For some reason, I thought the main guy's out. I don't know much about Tennessee. They're on the other half of the planet in SEC land.
I don't even care, to be honest.
It's going to be
just gonna
tough.
watch the game.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. That's a nasty atmosphere. Those fans are always crazy, always. It doesn't matter what kind of football team they have, just like at Kyle. So, the team's got their work cut out for them. We'll see how they respond. I hope Max plays well. I hope that maybe he takes some things from what happened this week and gets better. I think our defense will show up. I wish they had made more plays in the second half, but Bama did make some adjustments, man. They wanted to come out and do what they wanted to do, and in the second half, they kept guys back to block and to give Milroe more time. He didn't hurt us with his legs, and they didn't hurt us in the run game. We outrushed them by almost 50 yards. So, they made some adjustments to max protect, and he hit some freaking throws. He did to us what Miami did to us, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think that will be the game plan going forward. I think that's what you're going to see from teams. They're going to learn from the 2 losses that we have that, man, just keep everybody back. All right, give your guy as much time as you possibly can. Send 2, 3 guys out into the pattern. and hope that given enough time, they get open and your guy can make some throws. That's what people are going to do. And you say, well, why didn't Auburn or Arkansas do that? Because that's not how their offenses operate. Two completely different approaches to the game. So, unless they want to spend all week learning something completely new, they weren't going to be able to do that. So, I don't know, man. Is there anything else we want to talk about in this one?
I don't know, man.
I guess not.
really don't. I mean, yeah. I don't know what else is to be said other than, please try to just watch the season. Try to enjoy yourselves. There's not that many of them left, and that is sad.
Yeah, we're at about the halfway point. The good news is it's still baseball season. So shout out to all the Astros fans out there.
Who can't take a joke? Jesus.
This is a Ranger house.
That's right.
Okay? We're gonna bow down to your trash can greatness. We bow down.
Oh God.
You won the season series.
Oh, you've done
That's
it now.
great. Good job.
They're firing up their pressure washers right now. They're going to be coming over here.
They are.
Just en masse, yeah.
Well, we'll see how things go this week. But yeah, you really stirred it up on the Twitter account, buddy. Way to go.
No problem.
All right.
Anytime.
And with that, we're out. Kill it.
All right.
Kill it.
I don't know how.
I don't know. There you go. You'll figure it out.